Hi everyone, my name is Antonia, this is PerryPictures, and today we're going to talk about emotes! I mostly want to focus on design tips since there are plenty of technical tutorials out there, but not that many giving you advice on what to draw inside of those technical specs. So watch to the end because this video is going to cover that underserved creative aspect. Just to get started, here is a quick rundown of my specs for this video. I am using a 400 by 400 canvas for each emote, and I am drawing these in Procreate. To measure out your squares, create a new canvas, click crop and resize, and then scale down your crop until it measures 400 by 400, then click done. Once you have the right size, fill the whole thing in with a background color. I chose taupe for mine, and then save it to your photos. Now, when you open a new canvas, you can add as many copies of that square photo as you want and draw emotes on top of them like I am doing now. If this is your first batch of emotes, you might be thinking, yeah, small square ratio, etc. I got it, but what emotions should I draw? There are hundreds of examples out there, too many to draw in one sitting, so how do you choose? I suggest you look at two things to help you figure this out. One, where are you planning to use your emotes? I know for me, I'm using these on my new Discord server, which you can find down in the description below. And two, which emotes do you use the most and are a part of your community's culture? Each community develops its own quirks and sense of humor, inside jokes and gestures, so some emotes might be more prevalent in one community than in others. For instance, a gaming community will have a different emote culture than an art community or a gardening community. Taking that into consideration, we'll figure out which emotes to draw because these will be the ones that are going to get used the most. Once you've selected your emotions for your emotes, how do you know what style to draw them in? Particularly if you are building a culture around yourself as a streamer or a channel on YouTube or Twitch and would like to brand your emotes with your own likeness. The next couple of tips I'm going to give you will help answer that question. First and foremost, I recommend drawing your character with a large head to body ratio, even if this isn't your normal style. A larger head allows for more readable expressions, and this is especially important for emotes that are going to be scaled down when used on your target platform. A great resource for reference are chibis. A quick search for chibis on Google or Pinterest will render thousands of results that can help guide your design process. Another thing to think about is shape language. My character here has just a handful of recognizable traits, not including color palette, which we will get into in a moment. She has a lacy top, a center part with a headband, long hair, and blue eyes. In short, my self-zona is not particularly interesting, but one thing I can do with those elements is use shape language to embolden them. Take the hair, for example, and the way I've shaped the bangs, giving them volume and prominence. Another thing about the shape language is sometimes less is more. It can be tempting to add a bunch of exciting details to your character's design, but sometimes too much can detract from your character's design strength, the same way too many colors can. Usually when I draw my self-zona, I like to create all these extra details in the lacy color to make it look more like lace, but if I did that on these emotes, when I size them down for Discord, it would just turn into a muddy mess. So, my advice for your emotes specifically is to simplify where you can, to strengthen your design, and sometimes you can even use the separation of colors to inform the design traits without using line art. Now let's talk about color palettes. Everyone has a different sweet spot when it comes to how many colors to use, but typically the fewer the better. I would say somewhere between 3 and 5 if you can manage it. Another thing to consider is your primary color and what complementary colors you can add to it to support your design. For these emotes, I would say my primary color is pink, which is the color of her shirt, and pink is a warm color, so all my secondary colors are also warm colors. When you're looking for which colors to use as your secondary colors, one thing that helps a ton is to consider color temperature. Mixing cool tones with warm tones can be done well when done deliberately and consciously, but otherwise, they tend to mix like oil and water and leave us unsatisfied with our finished work, even when we loved our sketch. And I have a perfect personal example of this, with a character I designed named Kiridan, who I will throw up on screen now. I personally fell out of love with this drawing after combining cool grays with warm red and brown. It just looked terrible to me, and I ended up learning my lesson about color temperature from this drawing. Another thing you can do for your emotes to help your colors pop is to add gradients to your flat colors. I airbrushed in a gradient on the face, hair, and shirt for these emojis, and it really helped them to look less flat even before I began shading and highlighting. It helps to save each flat color to its own layer. For me, that meant 4 color layers, one for the shirt, the skin, the hair, and the air quote rest, which had my eye, mouth, and tear flat colors on it. Then adding gradients with airbrush is easier because you can alpha lock your layer transparency. The last step design-wise is to add the aforementioned shading and highlights. One pro tip I picked up from my predecessors and want to pass down to you is once you are completely done drawing and coloring your emotes, to then go back around the outer edges with a thick outline in either black or white, which you can do manually or with the stroke function if your drawing software has stroke in it. This set of emotes is now complete and ready for use in my new Discord server. I'd love to see you pop in and use them to your heart's fullest content. Just click the link in the description below and I will be thrilled to see you there. If you got value out of this video, let me know by hitting the like button or leave a comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe because I am making art and animation content on my channel all the time, like this helpful video you can watch next right here. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!